Right, so we talked about derivatives before and what they were used for and why companies get into them. And so they get into them, if we recall, for two main reasons. One, for speculation, and the other reason for risk mitigation. Those are the two reasons why they get into them. Now, the companies that get into derivatives for speculation purposes, well, their accounting is pretty simple. Everything that they do, or most every transaction they have, is at fair value. And so any of the changes in those fair values for speculators will go through the income statement. For people that are risk mitigators, the accounting for derivatives is exactly the same. Right? They're engaged in these derivatives and they're trying to mitigate their risk. Now they get into these risk mitigation strategies because they're most of the time they're accounting for their on-balance sheet transactions or any of their anticipated transactions. They're generally using low of cost or net realizable value or low of cost to market, or they're using amortized cost with adjustments for impairment. And what they have in these balance sheet items or these anticipated transactions is they may have some risk that they are trying to eliminate. And they are engaged in risk management to try to reduce the volatility of earnings. And that's why they engage in derivative contracts. Because they're trying to reduce the volatility in earnings by eliminating these internally uncontrollable market risks that exist, whether it's due to prices, whether it's due to interest rates, foreign currencies, whatever. These cannot be controlled by the organization. These are risks that generally can only be shared with other counterparties. So these are risks that they have to take on, but they can't control them. It's hard to control what the market is doing. So all they can do is they can try to share those risks to reduce the overall volatility of earnings. So they do that by sharing it and getting into a derivative contract with another counterparty to lay off that risk or to share that risk with that other counterparty. The problem is, because derivative accounting is fair value, with the changes in fair value going through earnings, this does create volatility in their earnings. This derivative contract creates the volatility that they were trying to eliminate. So they're doing the right thing. They're getting into these derivative contracts to do the right thing, to manage risk, reduce volatility in earnings. They do it with a derivative, and it creates volatility in earnings. So this becomes an accounting that they don't like, because they do not want that particular, they don't want that. So now, how does a company mitigate these uncontrollable risks with derivatives without creating volatility in their earnings, right? Because what they are doing here is they are hedging. This risk mitigation is hedging. But the accounting for derivatives is this. So you can hedge all you want, but you still have to follow this accounting. So how can I do risk mitigation, do hedging, but try to eliminate this volatility in earnings due to the way I have to account for the derivative? The way you do that is through hedge accounting. It is a special accounting that you have to qualify for, and it's not necessarily easy to qualify for it. So you can always do hedging, but you have the ramifications of volatility in earnings due to the derivative. You're reducing other volatility, but you are incurring the derivative volatility unless you qualify for hedge accounting. So hedging is different than hedge accounting. What this will, if you qualify for hedge accounting, it does reduce the volatility due to the derivative accounting.